Welcome to the Sleepy Underworld, a place where romance blooms, magic sparkles, and timeless fairy tales are reimagined for the dreamers of today. From heart-stirring romances to spellbinding adventures, every story is a soothing escape into a realm of love, wonder, and charm. So curl up, press play, and let us carry you away to the land of dreams. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. We'd love to know in what part of the world you are watching and what is your favorite tip for a good night's sleep. Thank you for watching and enjoy the video. The night ocean breathed in endless whispers, each wave carrying secrets to shore. I stood at my bedroom window, wrapped in the thick summer air, when I first saw the impossible light. It wasn't the familiar silver path of moonlight on the water. This glow pulsed beneath the surface in shades of electric blue and ethereal green, moving with deliberate purpose against the tide. The sight drew me from my bed, my bare feet silent on the weather-worn steps of the beach house. Salt-laden air clung to my skin as I descended to the shore, my cotton nightdress offering little protection against the humid night. The sand felt like warm velvet between my toes, and it still held the day's heat beneath its cooled surface. As I approached the water's edge, the mysterious light intensified. What I'd first taken for bioluminescent algae resolved into distinct points of radiance, each one moving independently like underwater fireflies. They wove intricate patterns beneath the surface, forming a glowing pathway that stretched toward the horizon. The gentle surf kissed my ankles, unexpectedly warm for a night ocean. Each wave carried more of the living lights, their blue-green glow reflecting off my skin until I shimmered. The rational part of my mind, the part that had helped me survive the past year of grief and change, urged caution. But something deeper called to me, an ancient recognition that bypassed thought entirely. I waded deeper, letting the water rise past my knees. My nightdress floated around my thighs, becoming nearly transparent in the otherworldly light. Glowing creatures swirled around me, their touch like pinpricks of electricity against my skin. They seemed to be leading me toward something, or someone. He appeared like a mirage made solid, standing on a sandbar that I knew hadn't existed during my afternoon walks on the beach. The mysterious light circled him in lazy spirals, illuminating features that belonged in a Renaissance painting. Dark hair fell in waves to his shoulders, framing a face of impossible beauty. But it was his eyes that held me motionless. They contained the same phosphorescent glow as the creatures in the water, ancient and knowing and touched with inexpressible sorrow. "You see them clearly." His voice carried across the water like distant thunder, deep and resonant. "Most mortals perceive only a vague glow, if anything at all." "What are they?" I continued forward, drawn by a pull I couldn't explain. The water was chest deep now, but the sandbar rose to meet me, solid beneath my feet. The last echoes of what once was. He held out his hand, and several of the lights danced up to spiral around his fingers. My final companions in exile. "I'm Calla," I offered, mesmerized by the play of light across his features. Up close, his skin was translucent, like sunlight through sea glass. "Adrian." A smile touched his lips, sad but genuine. Though centuries ago, I was called by another name, one your tongue couldn't shape without breaking. The lights pulsed brighter at his words, their glow reflecting off the water droplets in the air until we stood in a sphere of living light. "You're not human," I said, the words falling from my lips like stones into still water. "No." His smile faded. "I am a spirit of these waters, though much diminished from what I once was. Pride and ancient magic bound me to this place, neither fully present nor truly gone." I recognized the ache in his voice. It echoed my own isolation since moving to this small coastal town after my mother's death. My father had retreated into his work, leaving me to navigate my grief alone in a place where every face was a stranger's. How long have you been here? Longer than this shore has held its current shape. Adrian turned and gazed at the horizon, where the full moon hung low and heavy. The curse that binds me is as old as the first tide. These lights, these fragments of my original form, are all that remain of my power. Without conscious thought, I reached out to touch his arm. His skin felt cool and solid, yet somehow fluid. Are you in pain? He looked down at my hand. Physical pain, no, but watching my essence fade with each passing tide. He let the sentence hang unfinished in the salty air. Will you tell me about it? About who you were? The words surprised me even as I spoke them. Adrian studied me for a long moment, his luminous eyes searching my face. You should return to shore, Calla. The tide is rising, and these waters hold dangers you can't imagine. I'm not afraid. The statement came out stronger than I intended, and his expression softened. Perhaps you should be. He stepped back, and the lights swirled around him like a living cloak. But if you wish to hear my story, return tomorrow night. The choice must be yours. I did return, night after night, drawn by something deeper than curiosity. Adrian taught me the language of the tides and showed me how to read the stories written in the movement of waves. His voice painted pictures of crystal cities beneath the sea, of magic that once flowed as freely as water itself, of a time when the boundary between our worlds was as permeable as morning mist. In return, I shared my own story, of the mother who had filled my childhood with art and music before cancer stole her away, of the father who couldn't bear to look at me because I had her eyes, of the loneliness that had followed me from our city apartment to this quiet beach house. Adrian listened with an intensity that made me feel truly seen for the first time since my mother's death. Time moved differently during our midnight meetings. Sometimes we would sit in comfortable silence, watching the bioluminescent creatures dance beneath the surface. Other nights, Adrian would sing in a language that made my heart ache with its beauty, though I couldn't understand the words. The lights would respond to his voice, creating patterns that told stories of their own. I didn't realize I was falling in love until it was too late. It happened gradually, like the tide coming in, each small moment bringing me deeper until I was surrounded. The way his eyes crinkled when he smiled, the gentle power in his voice when he spoke of ancient magic, the careful way he maintained physical distance between us, even as our emotional connection grew stronger. But something was changing. With each passing night, the sandbar seemed smaller, the water deeper. The bioluminescent creatures, once brilliant enough to illuminate the waves for yards around, began to dim. Adrian's form became less substantial, as if he too were fading with his magic. Please, I begged one night, as another full moon witnessed our meeting. Tell me how to help you. There must be a way to break the curse. Pain flickered across his features. There is a way, he admitted, but knowing it will only bring you grief. Tell me anyway. I moved closer, close enough to see the play of light beneath his skin. The curse was designed as both punishment and temptation. His voice dropped to match the whisper of the waves. If I fall in love with a mortal, truly, completely, without reservation, the magic binding me here will shatter. But when it does, this sandbar will collapse, dragging into the depths anyone caught in its destruction. I would return to the sea, but any mortal. He couldn't finish the sentence. The cruel elegance of the curse struck me like a physical blow. It wasn't just meant to bind him. It was designed to ensure that any chance at love would end in tragedy. That's why you've kept your distance. Understanding washed over me with the force of a wave. Why you never... Why I never let myself love you as I wanted to. His hand hovered near my cheek, not quite touching. Yes, I would rather fade to nothing than cause your death. But his earlier stories had sparked an idea. You told me humans once crossed between our worlds freely, that the boundary was thinner. In ancient times, yes, but that knowledge has been lost to the ages. Then we'll rediscover it. Determination filled me, pushing back against my despair. You've taught me so much about your world. There must be a way for me to survive in it. Calla... No. I cut him off. I refuse to accept that our only options are watching you fade or dying together. There's always another path. You just have to be brave enough to seek it. The lights around us pulsed brighter, as if responding to my conviction. Adrian studied me with an intensity that peered into my soul. Finally, he spoke. There are legends, tales of mortals who learn to breathe water, to adapt to life beneath the waves. But the process is dangerous, and the price of failure is death. Tell me what I need to do. Over the next week, Adrian shared everything he knew about the old magic. We discovered that the bioluminescent creatures weren't simply remnants of his power. They were keys to transformation. Their light contained the essence of his world, and with proper preparation, they could change a mortal's nature. The ritual required precise timing, midnight during the new moon when the barrier between worlds was thinnest. I would need to drink a mixture of seawater and the creature's essence, then fully submerge in the ocean. If successful, my body would adapt to life underwater. If not, the night of the new moon arrived too quickly and not quickly enough. The sandbar had shrunk to a fraction of its original size, and Adrian's form was so transparent that starlight shone through him. Are you certain? He asked one final time, his voice carrying the weight of centuries. Once begun, there's no turning back. I've never been more certain of anything. I took his hand, feeling the cool liquid substance of his skin against mine. I'm not letting you face eternity alone. He pulled me close, and for the first time, pressed his lips to mine. The kiss tasted of salt and magic and possibility, of ancient depths and new beginnings. When we parted, the lights around us blazed brighter than I'd seen in weeks. The curse will still break when I fully embrace my love for you, he warned. The sandbar will still collapse. Then we'd better be ready to swim. I smiled, attempting to project more confidence than I felt. The mixture of seawater and essence glowed like liquid starlight in the shell Adrian had prepared. It smelled of ocean depths and ancient magic, of hope and transformation. The taste defied description, like drinking moonlight and darkness and dreams all at once. Heat spread through my body like lightning through water, making each breath a struggle. Adrian steadied me as I swayed, his touch growing more solid as the magic took effect. Ready? I nodded, unable to speak through the burning in my throat. Together, we walked to the edge of the sandbar. The water below was black in the moonless night, but I could see the bioluminescent creatures gathering in unprecedented numbers, their light turning the depths into a galaxy of blue-green stars. I love you, Adrian whispered, and I felt the sandbar begin to crumble beneath our feet. I love you too. The words escaped as we fell. The water closed over my head, cold and dark and terrifying. For an eternal moment, panic seized me. I couldn't breathe, couldn't see, couldn't tell up from down. Then Adrian's arms were around me, and the burning in my throat transformed into something miraculous. My lungs adapted, drawing oxygen from the water as naturally as air. I opened my eyes to a world of wonder. The bioluminescent creatures swirled around us in a triumphant dance, their light revealing an underwater landscape I'd never imagined. Adrian's true form was magnificent, his human appearance giving way to something both beautiful and strange, with scales that shimmered like opals and eyes that held all the mystery of the deep. He was solid now, fully restored, no longer bound by the curse that had held him for so long. And I was transformed. Not exactly like him, but no longer fully human either. Something in between, capable of living in both worlds. We rose through the water together, breaking the surface to find the sandbar completely gone. The beach looked different from this perspective, distant and dreamlike as if it belonged to another life entirely. "What now?" I asked, discovering I could speak normally despite the changes. Adrian smiled, and the ocean lit up around us. "Now we explore. There are wonders in this world you've never dreamed of, and I want to show you all of them." Hand in hand, we dove beneath the waves, leaving the shore behind. The bioluminescent creatures led the way, their light guiding us toward new adventures and possibilities. I had chosen love over safety, magic over the familiar, and in doing so, found a way to have both. The curse was broken, but the real magic was just beginning. Ahead lay a lifetime of discovering the mysteries of the deep, of learning to navigate between two worlds, of building a love that defied the boundaries of nature itself. Each day would bring new wonders, and each night new adventures, as we explored the endless expanse of a life lived between sea and shore, between magic and mortality, between what was and what could be.